What's up everybody, welcome to Balkan Moto. Today we're going to be replacing the front brake lever, the brake lines, and hopefully clean up a little bit of this area right here. So let's check it out. Alright, so to give you a little bit of a closer look of what we're going to be doing, we have the brake lever here, this entire assembly, with the brake cable, which kind of goes right into here. I believe I can probably pull this right off and put it on the new lever, hopefully. If not, we're going to have to do some rewiring. Then we have the brake line, which currently goes out behind here, folds over, connects to this assembly here, and then it splits up into the two calipers. We're going to be removing this entire assembly, so this entire portion here is going to get cleaned up real nice. The new components are going to go straight from the master cylinder all the way down to the right caliper, and then from here directly to the left caliper, so none of this mid spot stuff. So let's take a look at the parts we're going to be using. These are all the components we're going to be using. We have two brake lines from Drag Specialties. One is a 30-inch and the other one is a 28-inch. These both come with the universal fitting. And then we have three of these Russell straight banjo bolt adapters or fittings, and one that is a 35-degree angle one. The reason I got one that's different is so that at the top we can match to the left side where we also have a 35. Then we have the banjo bolts, some normal banjo bolts, and a double banjo bolt. So this one can actually fit two of these fittings on it. This we're going to use to connect both lines onto the right side caliper, and then daisy chain out to the left. And then of course we have the new brake lever with the adjustable master cylinder, and yeah, so that's the components we're going to be using. So let's start by draining the old system and starting to disassemble. Alright, so in order to minimize the amount of mess I would make, I use these brake line clips to essentially clip the line, and then undid them from the calipers, minimum wastage. Now I'm going to just put both of them into a cup, open up the master cylinder at the top, open these things up, and just drain the system entirely. And then we're good, in a good position to start taking things off. Okay, master cylinder is drained-ish. There's still a little bit of fluid in it. We drain these two. As you see, the clips are off, so they're just slowly dripping away. But we're not going to wait for that. So let's let me see. Yeah, let's take off the sensor for the brake light, and then we're going to undo them. Close up the master cylinder, undo it, and then take off the assembly here, and hopefully pull out everything all in one. All right, and here we have the old brake lines with the brake lever all completely off, with the little mounting bracket with the Honda logo on it at the bottom. Now what this has done is it's freed up all the space right here. So this means that I'll actually be able to mount the headlight a little bit lower, or flip the brackets upside down so the light actually fits about here instead of all the way up here. So down here versus all the way up here, which would be nice. I'll give the bike a little bit of a lower look in the front. Also opens this up for me to try to clean this up a little bit in terms of tucking away some of these cables, because there is a lot of them. But we'll figure that out. The other thing that I did was I moved the brake light sensor onto the new lever. Fits just right. Right? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to actuate when it's upside down and not attached to anything. So let's hook that up and then start putting in the new brake lines. Okay, so we have the steel braided line going from the master cylinder down to the main right side caliper, and then another line going out to the other side. Now this is clearly dangerous. I shouldn't be doing this, so what I'm going to do is, instead of taking a chance and allowing this to rub on the tire, I'm actually going to mount the front fender back on. I was postponing that until I get the little dust seal for the bolt right here, but you know what, let's just do it now. It's pretty quick anyways. And then set all the lines in place so that they're clearing everything, and then we're going to start adding some fluid into the system, make sure everything works fine. All right, fender is back on, no rubbing, no nothing, looks good. Now the lines are they're stiff, but they're still going to dangle about, so I'm going to try to figure out if I can use the old little bushings from the old lines, maybe cut them down the middle and wrap them around these ones to get them stuck into these little holders, so that we can kind of place stuff in place such that this stuff doesn't move around. I still have the old clips for the whatchamacallit, the speedo sensor line, so that should be pretty straightforward to attach to those as well. And then we're going to figure out the lining up of the master cylinder so that it actually sits upright. So see how this one is upright, this one's inclined. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit, and then we're going to bleed the system and hopefully have working front brakes again. So let's nicely tuck away those cables and figure out the front master cylinder and start bleeding. Now the lines are a little bit better tucked in. I'll probably end up adding some zip ties just in case. We have the sensor line. Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably zip tie to the brake line that way, but for now it's fine. It's in here, it's not going anywhere. And I've lined up the master cylinder so it's a little bit more upright. So now it's just a matter of filling it up and hopefully nothing leaks, and we can start bleeding this. All right, so I'm almost completely done bleeding, and I figured I'd show you guys something I found out about bleeding a brake system that has a master cylinder like this one. So on the old levers, the master cylinder and the piston were actually part of the same thing. So as you press the piston, it pulled liquid directly from the main reservoir. So with this one, because it's only pulling from that through this hose all the way at the top, you actually can keep it open, and as you press it, it's not going to spray out through there. So the interesting thing with that is that when you do the usual method of bleeding, where you pump, then hold open the bleeding nozzle, let some flow out, then close the bleeding nozzle, then let go of the lever. With this one, you can actually do something else, which is open the nozzle, squeeze the lever so it pumps out once, then hold it, and then close. Now what that does is essentially allows the fluid to be pumped through the entire system instead of building pressure up and the pressure pushing it out. It seemed to work a lot more effectively to bleed brakes. I was able to get it down way faster that way. The only thing that you need to keep in mind is that obviously as you pump with each press, you're draining quite a bit of fluid. So make sure that you don't drain the entire reservoir and end up sucking in air. Either way, I'm just going to wrap this up, then I'm going to put the lines back in to their spot, and we're going to test it. All right, front brakes are fully bled, and my God, the difference. This lever, as they say, will make a man out of you. It's that stiff. Let's see how it is when the bike is actually moving, because you know, a stiff lever doesn't necessarily mean good brakes. Yeah, I'll still need to grab some zip ties and tie up some of the hoses and cables, just so stuff is not just dangling all over the place. And yeah, so let's give it a test ride, and this will be it for this episode. Alright, and this is what it looks like from the rider's point of view. The brake is significantly better than before. It has a soft initial bite, but then as you squeeze it, it really does actually work as a dual front brake should. The brake slows down and brakes. I'm sure once I get some proper tires on it, it'll be a night and day type thing. It certainly feels a lot safer. Now it seems like the clutch, as well as the power in the bike and the front brake are all kind of up to par, and the bike is able to be handled properly, versus before where each of those systems kind of lacked. And now I actually have proper brake, proper clutch. Clutch is a little bit softer than the front brake, but makes sense. And also it seems like because of the alignment on my left hand, on my left hand I'm actually using the 6th setting, which is the furthest away. And on my right hand, perhaps because there's more stuff here, I'm actually using the 5th setting, so it's a little bit closer, so I can actually put the last bend of my finger on the lever for that extra strong squeeze. So front end, in terms of performance, is sorted out. Next on the list is putting back the horns on the bike, or rather these new ones that I have, which look like this, and the headlight, and the front should be sorted out. Alright guys, that was it for this episode. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications when new videos become available. Check me out on Instagram at Balkan Moto 2018, and make sure to check out balkanmoto.com, where I have articles and different tools that you can use for your own builds. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.